Hello and welcome back to PPS, and it is my joy, yea delight, to have opposite me Carey Duffy from Cooke Optics. Hello Carey.
Hiya Jim.
Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back again.
It's a delight, it's a pleasure. I mean, we're at a safe distance.
We're at safe distance, we're with human beings. Yeah, this is part of what we can do here. We don't know what parts of the world this video is going to reach. If you're not,
let us seize this moment.
Absolutely.
To be looking at each other in the eyes romantically over a beautiful thing. Now, today's discussion is about that most favoured of topics, wide lenses, anamorphic lenses, Carey.
Yeah, I mean, anamorphics are a very vogue tool.
Very vogue. Some say SOC, stick-on cinema.
Yeah, I mean, there is that to it. But that's all depends on how you actually deliver the image.
Yeah.
How you crop and put it out there and what you do with it. But it is undeniably got character. It's
got character. I had a little play, and even the most mundane of tasks looked like it was in a Bond movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, having said that, there is a caveat to that. Even within anamorphic, there's a caveat. And that is that not as many people are aware that we produce front-mounted or mid-mounted anamorphics.
I didn't know that, no.
Now, what that means is that the cylinder that stretches the horizontal from the vertical, to by the times factor, so this is 1.8 or 2 times. 2 times is really easy to work out. So this is a 50mm lens. If it was a 2 times anamorphic, it would have the field of view left to right of a 25mm.
Yes.
So divide by 2 or times by 2, whatever way you want to work your calculator out. But the point that the cylinders are here is that you can have smaller and lighter anamorphics if you put a tiny little cylinder at the back of the lens.
Right.
But there's a massive trade-off.
Yep.
And the trade-off is as you stop down from wide open, your trademark oval bokeh
begins to go.
Sphericals.
Yeah.
It squeezes down and becomes round.
Yes, so that rear element, an advantage in one way, but it almost...
It's an advantage for speed,
yeah.
but or for light if you're running around, but it's not an advantage in continuity of look over a production.
And it's an interesting point, because if you're going to go anamorphic, in my mind, it's because you want
the look,
the anamorphic effect.
Yeah.
You're choosing to deal with the downsides, and there are some interesting downsides, maybe in terms of weight and focus, because you're absolutely obsessed with getting that amazing widescreen look.
But then it's drop dead gorgeous when it's right.
It's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. It really is. So tell me about the range that you've got anamorphic. Super 35?
Yeah, we do 2 ranges, came out 2014, of front anamorphics. And front anamorphics came about because that's the original anamorphic. People took anamorphic cylinders and stuck them on spherical lenses. Primarily Cooke Speed Panchros, Cooke S2.
Yes. Yes.
Because those were the lenses that proliferated in Hollywood. Cooke Speed Panchros had the lion's share of lenses in Warner Brothers, in MGM, because the in-house there weren't rental houses, they were in-house camera departments.
Yes.
So they anamorphicized the lenses because of the television coming out, people not going to the cinema had to have something bright new, and out came scope.
Yeah.
So I just refer to it as scope vision.
And we all grew
there's
up
lots of scopes.
Yeah, and we all grew up with it.
Yeah.
So when we were young, we got shown that.
Yeah.
And it got put in here.
Yeah. And it's a very cinema experience, because scope wasn't on television. Scope was put on television, but it was panned and scanned because you could never show the whole thing, because you'd reduce the screen escape of that 4:3 TV. So it wasn't designed to be put on television.
And now we've all got 8K widescreen televisions.
Yes, so we are designed.
We're kind of going full circle. We can now shoot scope as
home cinema.
Home cinema. I mean, perhaps that explains why even commercials now are being shot like this.
Oh yeah. I mean, a little story. I had a great one quite a few years ago. I supplied a rental house when our first 65mm macro for the 2x anamorphic came out, and they needed it. I sent them down a demo, and it came back, and I said, "How'd it go?" They said, "Oh, it was great. It was for a well-known British telecoms supplier." Oh, that was them. Whoops, dropped their name in. But anyway, if you remember when anamorphic used to be shown on television at first, people didn't like black lines.
No, back in the day.
Hated black lines back in the day, and then when Sky came along and you had running news, it then sort of melted into the consciousness that running data came in, so subconsciously people started accepting it more. But anyway, loading them the stands, I said, yeah, it was great, because at first they were a bit concerned about anamorphic, and then when they realised they could put their terms and conditions in the black bar and it wouldn't affect the image on the screen, they really liked it. It's like, well, okay, yeah, advertisers get to see the good trade-off, the positives of using it, of that aspect ratio. So there's lots of things to the aspect ratio. Like say SOC, stuck on cinema, is it just black lines?
It's not. I mean, you and I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Joe Public perhaps not so much.
Joe Public knows or thinks that black lines mean cinema.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that scope vision that's come through from going to the cinema.
What I find interesting is as spherical become more antique-y and the vogue is to knock it back. Yeah. You come to these where the distortion's wanted. Yeah. You know, the fall off is expected. Yeah. The oval background is chased. Yeah. We're after that. We obviously want to have our action sharp. Yeah. But we're really wanting that softness and that effect behind.
And that scope.
Yeah.
Because there is, on landscapes, there is scope. There
is vista, there is, you see where the character is. Yeah. And you see the character move through the environment and react.
It's like a stage as well, because if you have actor moves the stage left to centre, you're looking at a stage sort of like this anyway. You're not looking up to see what the lighting's doing up there or so much, depending where you're sitting. So you have that movement, but you can watch an anamorphic image on a widescreen television, walk across, your eyes will sort of go across with it.
And I think when you frame up as well, looking down the EVF, there's something odd that happens as an operator when you're looking down it. When you do that, you actually, I think, start to frame things better.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, you go like that and it's completely different. When you do that with the spherical lens, with the stills lens, you're sort of, it's just...
You use the shape more because it's defined more. Yeah. I think it's an unconscious thing. Yeah. You can't help it. Or maybe I'm just bad at spherical.
But they do something to you. So yeah, there's Super 35 and there's full frame. The Super 35s is a 2x D squeeze for the 4:3 standard film plane. And the introduction of the full frame anamorphics, again being a front or mid centered cylinder, is 1.8.
Yes.
Now the maths behind that is based upon the capture sensor or capture film plane. Not that we shoot full frame film anamorphically.
No.
We shoot Super 35 anamorphically. So the picture, the height ratio is 4:3. Yep. So if you take a 2x D squeeze of the height, you get a double the width. It was based on the perforations as well as before. And that's where you'll get on projection. Because remember, in cinema, when the film was shot anamorphically, the viewfinder was unsqueezed. Yep. Yeah, so
not like today where we're treated to a corrected image often.
Absolutely. Yep, the corrected image came through the projecting anamorphic lens. Yeah. And so that would squeeze the image back out and project it in a aspect ratio of 2.391 or 240 to do it quickly. But that 2x D squeeze of the image on a 3x2 full frame sensor loses resolution.
Yep.
Yeah. Now there are other anamorphic D squeeze calculations for lenses.
Yes.
Based upon the taking sensor size.
In fact, that's key. That almost defines it. You know, 16:9 is 1.3.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people get confused about that. Yeah. But you know, how your sensor crops, whether it's a 4:3, whether it's a 16:9, absolutely affects the taking lens and the squeeze.
And the reason you'd use the taking lens in anamorphic is because you want the character.
Yes.
So if you shoot something with a bigger sensor and crop down to 16:9, you lose all that characteristic.
And then, and you know, we're aiming for that cinema scope crop. We don't want something that's widdly thin, like a sort of sausage dog.
And also, as you come down the D-squeeze values, you lose the character of the bokeh and the squeeze in the focus and the racking in the focus.
And then you just might as well put black bars on spherical, because you get to the point where
use characteristical spherical glass, vintage glass or whatever, and you'll get a character look, and you just get a look, and it's easier probably for the focus puller.
So Super 35, what focal lengths do you have there?
We go from a 25mm, which therefore divide by 2, it gives you a 12.5 field of view.
That's nice.
Pretty wide.
That's very wide indeed.
And we go up to a 300mm.
Wow.
So a natural history lens.
Yeah, natural history lens. But in Panavision.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also we have a 35-140 zoom lens, which is less than a stop slower than all of the primes. Which is a great little workhorse lens. We also have a 65mm 4:1 macro. Because anamorphics, again, because of the introduction of the cylinder, are renowned for not having good close focus.
No, exactly. They tend to, diopters often have to be put on the front to get you that close shot.
Absolutely.
Just because the physics don't allow you to do it.
Exactly. So that 65mm has really been well accepted by the market, and lots of people have them because it's just go-to, boom, just stick the 65 on, it's got it, don't even worry about the diopter.
So the new Super 35 frame firmware on this LF would enable you obviously to use those.
To use those as well.
Yeah.
And then we came out with a couple of years ago the full frame anamorphic.
Yes.
Full frame has been
it's
coming
growing.
along.
It's inevitable. I think all these cameras.
And well, we got an Arri Mini LF here, but actually the first camera we sort of put it on at a trade show was actually the Alexa LF. Arri put a 1.8 in for us straight away, so that was really kind of them. So the 1.8 D-squeeze, that means when you have a 3x2 full frame 36-24 sensor, you actually go bigger, but with character.
Yes, you keep that character.
The open gate, the full open gate on a 3x2 with a 1.8 is 270 aspect ratio. Ultra Panavision is 276.
It's very close.
Ultra Panavision is 1.25 D-squeeze. It's a very spherical looking, it's a very wide image, beautiful image, but it's very spherical in its characteristics.
It is,
So you get a lot of edge character at 270 in a 1.8 anamorphic. Some people may say too much, but it's there if you want it.
Yeah,
but it's a real letterbox.
If you need that.
Yeah, if you need, it's a real letterbox image. But anyway, you crop back into 240. You've only lost.
That's someone calling up to order a set now.
They're double checking probably those numbers, maybe even. You've lost by the crop only 5%. Of the 10%, 5% either side of the full resolution of the sensor. Now, if you use other crop factors, you're getting less character. If you use a 2x, you're losing 25% of the resolution of the size of the lens height.
Hence 1.8.
1.8 gives you the full head height. De-squeeze it at 1.8. Open gate 270. Drop down 5% either side to 240, you're getting 90% of the resolution off that sensor. So what are you with this camera? You're within Netflix 4K requirement.
Acquisition.
And those are the driving factors.
Yes. Now, at your feet, we have something else, which I want to talk to you just briefly about. If you
Can I bring it up now?
You can bring it up now. This is like a little Blue Peter bit. I'm just going to switch here so I can check you're actually in frame. Yes, you are. Good. Wonderful. Now that, for those that don't know at home, is actually a Panasonic S1H with an adapter. That's actually my Panasonic S1H with a Novaflex PL adapter straight on it. And what I can only describe as, and apologise for, my homemade support rig, because you do have to support that lens, otherwise it'll pull the mount off the front of the camera.
It's a heavy lens on front of this. But what this means, what they've done is they've put a 1.8 D-squeeze into the motion capture. I am waiting for the day they put a 1.8 D-squeeze in the still capture,
which will be easy.
Won't be that difficult, and it's going to turn around. I mean, photographers don't frame and don't shoot anamorphic.
No, because they can't.
But they can, well, they sort of can with this.
They could do a screen grab.
You do a screen grab, or you go from movie mode and then you dial it around and go to stills mode. But your viewfinder's unsqueezed, so it's that when you're looking through and also pulling focus. But it's what I find is it's great. We've got the Mini and we've got the LF and we've got a range of other full frame cameras, but this puts, people say, oh yeah, but the lenses are heavy and the this and the that and the weight and the whatever. Yes, that's true. But you just said a brilliant thing to me earlier before we opened up this conversation about this body with those lenses.
Yeah, because for me personally, the camera's cheap enough that you never take it off the lens.
No.
So you would rig it for your job or your film with a wide or a mid or whatever it is, or a mid and a tight.
Yeah.
And it would never come off it.
You'd have a case per lens per camera.
Yes, absolutely. The whole thing, motors, everything.
Yeah.
And then when your director irritatingly changed his mind or her mind, you could just switch like that.
Yeah. And this is the rig for Steadicam or for gimbal, for weight, because it's not taking off the lens, rebalancing, doing that. We're going with it. So personally, I think this is a fantastic tool. It's also a fantastic tool for if you're going to go out location scouting. That's why I want the stills in it.
Why we want the stills mode, because then, or even actually on a film when the director just wants a frame. Yeah. Do you know that you can't put your main camera in to do it. Yep. Rig one of those up, off you go.
Rig one of those up. Now, you can tell me with this, because I know that Lumix have that web software as well. That you can use these on, for tethering. So that means they can also tether direct out to your iPhone probably, or to your Android phone.
Yes, you can. In fact,
so you're tethering. So if you want to be guerrilla style lightweight crew shooting movie looking anamorphics, it's just blown out in full frame.
Yes.
If you had a set of 3, a set of 5, or a set of full set, and you had this is your magazine.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
This is just your magazine. So you just got a magazine per lens, rigged to go with.
And since we're on the wish list area, if they could just put that sensor in a body that was kind of square with SDIs at the back and a small side screen, I would be very happy.
So you could just rock up, roll out, and keep quite a tight crew, but get very tight crew. Magical look, because the look when you look at full frame anamorphics, I've seen a lot of DPs when I've shown it to them just double take through the viewfinder and go, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
And again, the only reason, or the key reason this camera is useful and important in this way is the height of that sensor crop. That's what gives it in the 5.9K mode, 5.4K mode. That's what makes it important. Yeah.
So I mean that's what I'm really excited about this, because I'm excited for photographers. I'm excited for a range of productions being able to use that mega big look that isn't available unless you go up to really big film formats or big camera formats,
or what I call rental only.
Or rental only options. You can rent the lenses, but you could buy the cameras as the bags for a production set, and you can get that look. And most of my customers are generally rental houses, so they want to make their glass work. But I don't mind owner-operators buying these lenses. I'm very happy to sell them to them as soon. I think they're a great option.
I'll have mine in a lovely...
I think they're a great option. You can leave them at the rental houses if you can actually let go of them out of your house for someone else to rent for you. But I just think it's such a clever way of shooting. And it gets over that thing, oh, the lenses are heavy, they're big, and they're this. No, they are, but they're not when they're done this way.
But what I found just rigging that just for fun, I find obviously you would your center of balance is obviously actually over the lens.
Yeah, it is a bit longer.
But as long as you rig it with that in mind and move everything along, and perhaps have a side-mounted battery, it's more than workable.
Yeah, it's definitely workable. And there are various cages and bars and adapters from from lots of manufacturers to fit on the L mount cameras.
That is easily done.
It's easily done. So it's a great tool. But the other thing's stupid. You just go around and take your location photos and go in black and white mode and go in this mode and go in that, and you just fire them off to the production. You get directors so excited by it. You will. It just brings out all those creative juices, as I like to say.
So talk to me about how fast these are again.
These are T2.3. They're 2.3 all the way. So are the 2x.
Yeah. Now, like any anamorphic, wide open, they'll bloom a little.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not saying that as a criticism.
No.
Because actually it's a characteristic. Yeah. As you stop down a little bit, 1 or 2, you'll find you'll get into the sort of the
there is a little bit sweeter mark off wide open. They're totally usable wide open, and you'll like them. And you may have to do. Some people like to go in post and crunch a bit more because they bloom a bit, some contrast maybe. But focus pullers would prefer you to shoot at 4, probably on them all day long.
I prefer T22. So let's not dwell. Let's not dwell on that. But I had a tiny play actually on the 75 just outside on the bridge, and it was beautiful to work with. You know, it really was. Just finding that sweet spot, just about T4, you know, T5, 6, just around.
And
there.
Also, that's the other thing that you didn't have, unfortunately, because we didn't have any available at the time, is both the 2 times and the 1.8 times we produce in 2 different coatings.
Ah.
So there is the SF coating, which is the sort of PVC series flare, that blue flare that everybody sort of relates when they think about anamorphic.
Yes.
And there's the standard coating.
Yep. Is that a warmer flare?
It's the standard Cooke coatings for like S4s and all of our lenses. So it's that look. So, you know, some people go, oh, I must have the flare. And the flare's great. And, you know, it brings back the old focus puller's art of flagging the lens if you don't want it. So if you flag the lens, you won't get the flare. And that flare is obviously that coolness. If you get a bit of light on, they would cool it ever so slightly. But unfortunately, we can't retrofit because it's in the cylinder and it's in some of the elements that go back inside it. So it's not a retrofit. If people buy, they buy what they stick to. But there's a split camp, because there's some GPs who go, oh, I don't like the flare. I like that warm look. I actually like the warm flare that it brings in. I'm used to it now. I work with it. I don't want that, you know, space age sci-fi look. And there's others who go, I can't live without it. So we make two different looks for them. The 2 times go 25 to 300. The 1.8s currently go 32 to 180.
And how many lenses in that set?
7 or 8.
7 or 8.
There's a 32, 40, 50, 75. Now we have an 85 macro in the full frame. And it's the similar counterpart to the 65 macro in the 2 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Then 100, 135 and 180. So that's the current line. I can't say anything else if there's going to be any other lines or longer or whatever in the series. But they're both, I mean, these are both 1.8s, but if I was to put a 2 times here, the only difference you'd see, it'd say 2 times on it. Exactly the same size. So yeah, I mean, it's that old saying, you can't be a little bit pregnant. You either go anamorphic or you don't.
Wow. Glad you said that, not me.
Because
no, you're
that's
right.
the way it is.
It is. It seems, I'm with you. I'm all in. You're either all in or you're not. For me, it's a fantastic look. It really, really is.
But the other thing they say about, you know, anamorphics not having a good close focus, well, your frame is completely different. You can get more people coming in. You can use that screen estate in a different staged process for bringing actors in and out and throwing that focus back and forward.
And also, when you're stopped down a bit, you still get more separation. That's also the thing, you know. With there have been many good films made with quite deep focus.
Very many.
Remember a lot of what we sort of train to look for now. Everyone's shooting at T1 or something ridiculous, is because people want, you know, they kind of, it's kind of an aesthetic that's kind of taken off. But if you actually look at films, so much, as you say, if the scene demands that you see more,
well, I think that films you really like tend to be more, I like, not other people, I speak for myself, are more naturalistic, and it's that's what that's the information my eyes give my brain, and it looks real, and it doesn't look forced, shall we say, even if it's sci-fi or it's prehistoric, shall we say, you know, it looks natural. And I think that's the point of a lens. A lens needs to make something believable onto what it's projecting the image onto.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
And character in this, and you can't get away from edge character on anamorphics.
No.
So you go with it or you don't go with it.
But the oval drop on that was just beautiful. Even the 50, which you would consider a wide standard.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It just was really nice how it separated.
I mean, it takes full frame to another level. Full frame anamorphics. It's like, oh, the wow. And the other thing is because it's a slightly smaller set than the 2 times anamorphic, and all anamorphic sets tend to be smaller than spherical sets, it means you start moving your camera around more a bit, and you start.
We joked about this earlier.
Yeah.
We talked about the thing called a pair of feet.
Yeah.
Which is in the old days,
Yeah.
and I consider that we are of a certain age.
Yeah.
You would walk in and you would walk out.
Yeah.
You know, you might have 2-3 focal lengths, and that's what you would shoot on.
Well, that, I mean, certain anamorphic lenses work on certain actors at certain distances. They just sing with that. You put another one on, it's like, no, they don't look, you know, if you, and so therefore you have your hero lenses, you have your go-to lenses, and anamorphics are so wide that when you go back or you come forward, it just makes it more natural, I think, like your eyes, because you're trained in on them. So I know lots of jobs and commercials and shoots that, you know, vast amounts are shot on just a couple of lenses, and this is the go-to lens on their close-up. We don't go to anything else. Everything else has to move around the camera.
I like that. But it's quite nice though.
Yeah.
I think that, and also it keeps the aesthetic of the project the same.
Yes, exactly.
All the
so
way
it keeps
through.
it natural to your eyes,
Yeah.
and you can just absorb it. And if you can absorb what you're watching, so you follow the story, not that the equipment or the optics is just annoying you or annoying your eyes so much, you can concentrate and take it in, which is the whole point of storytelling. The whole point of storytelling is to be absorbed into the story.
Oh God, we've got to stop there. He's actually peaked. The whole point of storytelling. That's surely why all of us are here.
Yeah.
Is there
Hopefully.
anything you want to add that we haven't touched on? I feel that was the pinnacle, the whole point of
Yeah,
storytelling.
no, we could say that. I mean, that these are eye data as well.
Yeah.
So the data comes out.
Your protocol still pushes
still
the data
works
out.
through. No, I mean, it's one of those things that.
That's someone
calling me.
arriving at the door to collect their anamorphic lens package.
Or take me away.
I'll take you away. I think they're going to come in. So what we might do is say thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jim, for having me.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I am now well schooled in the ways of the wide. Can I say that?
I like that. I might use that.
The ways of the wide. See you soon.